Welcome to In the Moment with Kortia, where we inform, inspire, and motivate you to be a positive agent of change. On this halfway there Wednesday, good morning to everyone out there in the surrounding areas. That's Natchitoches, Gina, Alexandria at 88.1 FM, Monroe, West Monroe on 98.9 FM, Shreveport, Greenwood on 92.5 FM, St. Joseph, Natchez, Mississippi on 99.3 FM, and Lake Charles on 100.1 FM. And for those of you that want to call in with your questions or comments, the local number 318-484-2500 or toll free at 877-464-2500. And on this halfway there Wednesday, we definitely started the week off right with how we came into the subject matter of, self-confidence, and how we started it off on Monday with the, current Miss LSUA for 2019, how she kicked it off, Sage Kuzan, to let us know how she had to go over these different obstacles, step out of her comfort zone, and really, just break a stereotype of what she actually thought it was to, step into a pageant. And then, we on yesterday on Terrific Tuesday, we had some steps that really seemed like they were small, but it really is like really significant steps. It's like those basic fundamentals of, I would actually say growing up with, some things, some skills that in this day and age that are really lost, that will actually help someone when it comes to their self-confidence, but really aren't taught on the home side a lot anymore. I mean, because why? We kind of are in this microwave society that we live in nowadays, and, everything's got to be quick. Everyone's rushing. I mean, it's like in the areas, especially when it comes to like home cooked meals, you may get that on the weekend, but during the week you're to and fro, different events and things that are going on. I mean, we touched on how, some of those self-confident issues might stem from someone not properly being groomed, not being dressed as nice, basically how we use the example of, photoshopping a self-image, basically having this picture that's on the inside is what God has given you, but it's contradicting everything of how you look or how you represent yourself, on the outside. And then, of course, that positive mindset, because, that's what I love about what God is really doing, through the On Point Talk family, and how, it kicks off with the Sin-Law Spiritual Hour, then it goes right into In the Moment with Kortia Kuzan, and followed up with On Point Talk with Carlette Christmas. Because why? Thinking positive. There are so many of us that before we even get our day started, I mean, as soon as that alarm clock just that electronic rooster goes off, I mean, before our feet even touch the floor, I mean, we've got these negative thoughts of this attack that tries to come against us before we even, step out of the bed. So, definitely thinking positive. And then, how we came and pretty much rounded out before we got off the air yesterday about killing those negative thoughts. I mean, your entire day, your entire self-image, your self-confidence could literally be destroyed before you even put your feet on the floor to get out of the bed. Because why? Trust me when I tell you, the enemy is not going to wait for you to, okay, why don't you go ahead and get yourself together, all right? Let's get your teeth brushed, all right, your face washed, clothes ironed, everything you need to do. Let's get together. Make sure you're all ready to go, and then, I'll wait for you outside, in the car, and we'll just go to work together, and then that's when I'll start with my negative thoughts. No. He's going to get you as soon as your eyes open. And some of you might be saying right now, hey, he gets me when I'm dreaming. But, a lot of that happens based upon, what are you actually allowing to come on the inside of you? And what do I mean by that? I mean, we were talking about the positive thoughts, but what could be more positive than actually filling yourself up with God's word? I mean, it's literally the catalyst that ignites everything on the inside of you. I mean, it makes you aware of different things. I mean, you can have, and I was just talking to one brother on yesterday, and you know who you are. I mean, to where you can receive revelation after revelation after revelation to let you know that how, your confidence level may have been as far as like on self, but, once you get that revelation of how God had been with you through the whole process of, when you were small up into where you are right now, and how your self-confidence would be more so on him as opposed to, what's going on in your own life. So, I'm just thanking God tremendously for that. And then, of course, getting to know yourself. I mean, it's one thing to say in life, okay, and this is what I've seen with a lot of people, all right, that, they tend to do things, they tend to act a certain way, they tend to say certain things, based upon, people that they're in surrounding with, possibly, what they've been familiar with most of their lives. But, you really need to get to know yourself, okay? It's so very, very vital, because it's like if you pretty much don't know yourself, you don't know what your own identity is. Everyone, any kind of external factor is going to shape your identity. And we just have Jennifer Kuzan joining us on the microphone this morning.
Good morning.
And then, of course, acting positive. And you might say, all the time, I know we've got obstacles. I know we have different circumstances. And, it's amazing in how when we start having things that happen in our own lives, we just keep ourselves, or should I say the enemy wants us to keep our eyes just fixed on us, okay? And look at what I'm going through. Look at what's happening in my life, all right? But look, it comes to me, like, for those of you that have actually, read God's word, and I'm not going to say you have to be a proficient master of theology or anything out there, okay? But in knowing God's word, it's amazing how you will always find some type of example in the Bible of someone that has gone through something, or maybe going through something that's like a whole lot worse than what you've ever gone through, okay? And how basically I love how God just takes the entire, excuse plate off the table, okay? It's basically like, you've got that one person that you have in the family, and you go to their house possibly, and you don't really want to eat the cooking because it's really just going to be bad, and you do everything you can to just slide the stuff that that's not going to be good off the plate. Well, guess what? That's exactly what God is doing. He's taking that plate off the table, all right, so that you don't have to partake in it. You don't have to take the junk that the world gives you. He just wants to give you the best that he has in store for you. And I mean, starting it off today, a lot of us really need to work on our being kind and being generous. Hey, I'm going to raise my hand on that one, okay? Look, that is a definite process. A lot of things that happened with me before I surrendered my life, it was definitely from upbringing. I can say that you hear me talk about my grandfather a lot. And if you haven't realized, I mean, the men in my family, it's just this way and no other way. I mean, we were raised to be hard, raised to be abrasive. I mean, confront things as far as like head on, it was a lot of different things going on, but being kind and generous. And I mean, that may sound like so corny. I mean, and God even says in his word, through love and kindness shall not I draw thee, okay? But a lot of us, especially us guys, like I said, first partaker to a lot of this, to where we think actually showing kindness and being generous to others is like a great sign of weakness, and a lot of us stumble with that, and many of us have actually missed out on opportunities just because of the image that we project on the outside. I mean, we seem like we're just so confident. We got to have that self-confidence. We're really assured, but a lot of times what we're portraying on the outside is showing what kind of weakness we actually have on the inside. At least that's what God's actually revealed to me, because some of us try to be so hardcore or present this image of that we have it all together, and it's basically like this false front to cover up the pains and things that we're going through on the inside. And I mean, it's like, I don't know about, any of you, but I've seen a many individual out there that just seem like they've really had it together, really had it all together. And I remember being in the locker room one time for football. I mean, this one guy, he had what you call a real good family. I mean, they lived in that big high income bracket, had it all together. And then, I'm walking around to the end of the bleachers and I literally hear someone weeping. I mean, this guy was as big as I am. And then all of a sudden I just saw him in the corner crying. And I'm just like, well, man, what's going on with you? And then, of course, being a guy at that point in time, you wouldn't expect the guy to really open up. You're just saying that just to be cordial, right? And then, of course, he just said that no matter all these great things, I mean, this guy was on the brink of getting a scholarship and everything, but he was just like, something, I give all this stuff up if my dad would just show me, love. If he could just come to a game or do whatever like that. But, you never know. And how he really admitted that everything that he was doing was something to really just build up his self-confidence or to really just get love as far as like from his father. But, for a lot of us right now, we really don't have to be concerned about exactly how God loves us, okay? A lot of us are struggling with a self-confidence because why? We don't know self-confidence because what? we're short of that love that we'd want to receive from a parent, family member, whoever it may be. But look, God's touching some of you right now in your moment, and when we come back from break, we're going to get right back into this. Stay in your moment. Welcome back to In the Moment with Kortia Kuzan on this Halfway There Wednesday, and we're rounding it up with self-confidence. I want to go right into starting off with this quote. One important key to success is self-confidence. A key to self-confidence is preparation. And that was from Arthur Ashe. And for those of you that may not know who Arthur Ashe is, he was an African-American tennis player, that played back early in like the 70s and 80s. So definitely, it's a key to success is, should I say, one important key to success is self-confidence. Just like Arthur Ashe said, look, it's really important to know that a lot of opportunities and things that people are missing out there, well, it's basically how, you are perceived, the confidence level. And you might say, well, why is it that I may be missing out on certain opportunities as far as like in my life? Just because of my confidence level. Well, if you basically, exude or you project that you're not sure of yourself, then especially like if you're in the workplace, maybe you're at a family event or a gathering, whatever it may be, well, if that's what you exude or that's what you project, then people that are around you are going to pick up on that, and they're going to be like, okay, maybe this isn't the individual that I want to head over like a $1 million project or, to facilitate this big group gathering or whatever it is that's out there. I mean, self-confidence is just like so important. I mean, it's not only for like other people, but it's definitely like for, yourself. I mean, would you actually say that self-confidence, you could say in the realm of it's almost like, at times you got to give yourself a pep talk?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I can think of a time in my life every morning I woke up, I had to give myself a pep talk. You can do this. You can do this. You can do this. Just put that one foot in front of the other.
And it's really funny, but I would actually say that most of us, if not really all of us, had some of those mornings, some more frequent than others, about, giving that pep talk to yourself.
Now tell them why you're really laughing.
Look, and look, I would definitely have to say that pep talk was just what on this morning when it came to actually getting up, for at least for myself. Getting up, having that little pep talk, and it's not that, not the motivation to get out, but, sometimes you get into that real groove or that deep, deep sleep, and then, of course, you wake up and you're awake, and then all of a sudden you're like, you're actually talking to yourself. Did the alarm clock really go off? Am I actually awake? No, this is just a dream. Okay, no. But literally, sometimes you have to actually pep talk yourself, and I mean, it's really comical, but really, just like, David said, sometimes you have to encourage yourself. If we talk about David in the Bible, you really, at times, when it comes to your self-confidence, you have got to encourage yourself, because why? There are going to be times when there's no one around to encourage you.
That's
okay?
right.
And you've just really got to go ahead and pump yourself up. And for a lot of you athletes that are out there, that was a part and parcel to the process out there. Many times you had to pep yourself up, to say you can go ahead and do whatever you needed to do when you were on the playing field. But, what's really interesting is that a lot of people would not struggle with this in this area of self-confidence if they were actually, they prepared. If they prepared themselves for whatever they were going into, okay? And, as far as okay, I'm just going to go ahead and wing it, and, that's pretty much going to be it. I mean, that I think that was one of the, now that I'm thinking about it, one of the, how can I put this? The hurdles I had to face when we were in high school, with your favorite teacher, our anatomy teacher, and how, yeah, that's a good story behind that. But anyways.
I enjoyed that class.
Yeah, she enjoyed that class. Everybody in the class enjoyed that class except me. But just to say that in preparation, see, I'm one of these individuals that I process information, I hear it first, then I'll go ahead and read and study. Unlike most people, when they're studying, they need to read the text and everything, and then they process it that way. So, my wife was laughing because I was in the class and, would take a brief note, but I would always be listening to the lady. And then if I actually passed tests, immediately I would be assumed that I must have cheated because I didn't write all of the notes down. But that's just how I study. I like to listen at what's going on, and that's how I process information. And so, long story short, and how it prepared me to do what I needed to do. But, what is it that you do to actually prepare you? What are you doing to actually prepare you as far as like in the realm of, self-confidence? I mean, what steps are you taking each and every day that's actually going to shore you up, shore your self-confidence up? I mean, let me ask you this personally, not personally, but what would you say, what are some of the things that you've seen some people run into when it came to dealing with like a self-confidence issue?
I wasn't expecting that question. I don't have an answer at the moment. I really don't. I can't think of anything actually at the moment. I wasn't expecting that question. I know what I do with myself.
Well, what is it that you do with yourself?
I have to give myself pep talks. You've heard them in the morning.
It's pretty interesting that something. If I didn't know that my in the morning, you'd actually think somebody else was in the bedroom or whatever. Because sometimes she's over there. Yeah, you got this. You got.
You can do this. You can do this. You can do this.
But one of the other things, and I didn't realize this, and I guess just because of the dynamic of the background and everything that I come from, where you came from, of course, the jobs and everything that I've had, everything's been like fast paced,
Right.
everything on the move, okay, and that's like right now when I'm in an environment where things just really have to get done. One of the things that really project a level of self-confidence would be in the how you speak, meaning whether you speak fast or whether you speak slowly, okay? Now, when I'm speaking with individuals like on a one-on-one basis, my speech is a lot slower. But when I'm in that you got to get it done type of environment, my wife knows, and you've heard me at times on the microphone here.
When he gets excited.
Okay, to where I had always been in the mode to where, you're moving around, you're giving people direction, and, you're just constantly moving. For the life of me, for a long time, it wasn't in even though I was in a corporate setting, it was like a corporate setting where I had to be on the move constantly, all right, and always having to give direction to people. So I had to speak fast, to do it, to make sure that they got it, to go to the next person, to go to the next person. But, a lot of people, when it comes to self-confidence, you hear some people, you've noticed that people that struggle with self-confidence, if you looked at them, if they say something besides, not looking at you, they speak rather quickly under their breath, as you want to say, where they're kind of looking down to where they just want to get it out really fast just to answer you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of taking their time to really explain what it is they say. I mean, we've had to tell a couple of our kids that,
Yeah.
that, okay, speak up, say what you need to say. Don't say it quickly, say it where I can understand.
Whispering.
Yeah, stop whispering.
Look at me. Tell me what you're saying.
And that goes to the next point, standing tall. I mean, a lot of people that are actually going in the realm of struggling with self-confidence, what do you say? They hunch themselves, kind of make themselves seem like they're really not there. It's like their body, the contour of their body fits what's going on the inside of them. Okay. I mean, I've never seen a person that's really, really confident, really try to keep their head down, not make eye contact, or, just make themselves try to seem invisible to the
Right.
people around them, okay? And, definitely you can see a lot of it. It's a lot of indicators that are out there that really jumps into a level of self-confidence with someone. So, what is it that's actually right now, okay, sparking you and touching you as far as in that level of self-confidence? I mean, what do you think that's actually stopping you from being as confident as God has called you to be? And, like I said, unfortunately, a lot of self-confidence issues stem from, what you were told, what people say about you, how people look at you, your background, where you live. I mean, and then, of course, you start comparing that to yourself as far as yeah, I do live here, I do live there. And what they're saying, it must be true. But it all falls into a realm of this stereotype, okay? I mean, literally, if I would have went from where I actually came from and kept that same mentality right now, I would have never thought we would have been able to get out of that.
We wouldn't have.
Person with my wife, just get out of the situations and circumstances where we came from. I mean, because there were a lot of uphill battles that we had to overcome. But, even though I came from a 3-bedroom house, with a whole lot of other people in there, God even showed me even in that how he was molding and shaping me and showing me for appreciation, showing me how to build self-confidence in the midst of all those things that were going on. So where's God reaching you right now in your mold of self-confidence and how he's molding and shaping you? So look, we're going to get right back after the break, but we want you to just stay in that moment. Welcome back to In the Moment with Kortia Kuzan, and we're talking about self-confidence. And God just brought something back to my remembrance right when we're in the break time there. It's amazing at how a person's self-confidence, which definitely goes into their, self-esteem and, their outlook and what they perceive about themselves, and how it could really be shaped by an individual. It could be someone that's out there to be that positive agent of change that could actually grab hold of that individual, not literally, but, figuratively grab hold of them and actually see the potential that they have on the inside of them. Or, an individual can actually grab hold of someone else and actually, literally try to destroy someone's, image of themselves, destroy their self-confidence. And, he brought back this thought, something that happened when I was much younger, and it just rocked my world when it came through this. And, not exactly sure who this is from, but this is going to help someone right out there in that moment, okay? One of the greatest lessons that God ever showed me, okay, that he brought back to my remembrance was how even people that you see that need help, unless they know that they need help, they'll never let you help them, okay? And I'm not just talking about, dependence as far as going somewhere. I mean, one of the most pivotal moments that ever rocked me in my life, like I said, I remember I was 16 years of age, walking somewhere, and I don't know specifically where it was, but heard this commotion going on behind a dumpster, okay, one of those big dumpsters. And then all of a sudden, literally walked by and saw this man that was just hitting this woman. And then what ended up happening is that, of course, me being me, I'm like, hey, well, let me help the lady out to stop this from happening, right? So stop this from happening. And then next thing I know, the lady actually, instead of being grateful, she turned on me. And then, of course, I was asking, well, what's going on? And then it ended up being to where, she said, well, I love this individual, husband, so on and so forth. So God brought it back to my remembrance as far as with this, is that a lot of people out there right now today, their self-image, their self-confidence has been broken so much so to the point that they are defined by the same level of abuse that they've actually gone through, to where they've allowed their image, their self-confidence to be upon that measuring stick, okay, of how much this is my self-worth. This is what my confidence level is, all right? If this particular individual who says that they actually love me, okay, if they're doing this to me, then this is what my level of worth is, okay? This is what I should be able to accept. And so many people right now in this day and age, all right, whether it's physical, whether it's mental, whether it's spiritual, are going through these different bouts or what that's really destroying, their self-confidence, to where it's almost like they look to this person that's doing this to them, and they're almost looking for some approval as far as okay, what can I do? What can I not do? How can I grow? I mean, what's the right type of, love that I should be able to accept? But, even in that, God's talking to someone right now that something, that confidence level or that self-image that you have that's based upon those particular things that happen in your life. Look, don't look to man, look to me, okay? I have every single thing that you want, okay? I have all the love that's, inexhaustible to be able to give to you, to actually not only take away those pains, okay, but to actually build you up and show you the real type of love that I have in store for you. Because God actually wants each and every one of us to be molded and crafted into the image that he has for us, okay? Not what that external source that tried to break you down, that's trying to destroy you, okay, who the devil's working through, but the image that he has in store for you. But even in that, it's still eventually going to be a choice that you have, all right? So I don't know who that was for, but God actually just brought that back to my remembrance. So, and definitely in our self-image, we really need to, in the realm of, we need to actually increase our confidence, okay? And, by what? And if we want something, we need to study for it, okay? We need to practice doing it. I mean, even with this radio platform that we have right here, it wasn't a matter of just hey, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get into just, hey, doing radio. I mean, I thank God for allowing, David and Carlette to actually bring us on before we actually started, a month in advance to where we got familiar with things. My wife got trained as far as like doing the behind the scenes things that she loves. And then myself, having an opportunity to be on the microphone and everything with Carlette. But what? We increased our confidence in what we're doing by what? Getting the necessary training and everything that we're needed to have. And then, of course, in doing that and building more of your self-confidence, building those small goals that we have, and then definitely achieving it. I mean, asking my wife right now, do you have any kind of goals, small goals that you want to actually accomplish on this year to achieve?
Small goals?
Small goals. I'm not saying the big lofty goals, the small goals. I mean, because it goes right into, how when you achieve something and how much better it just makes you feel. At least I know it makes me feel that much better. And then we have our daughter flicking around her ring finger. I want to say that's a no, maybe, yes, no.
Huh?
What?
What?
And
See, here we go on the spot again.
oh yeah, we love it on the spot. But definitely, like I said, those small goals to actually achieve them. And it seems like really, really interesting thing, but the biggest goals, and I guess my small goals equal my my overall goals, is that you can say you want to increase financially. That's a goal. You can say you want your family to grow or strengthen. That's a goal. But, it seems like every last one of my goals, personal, professional, however you want to say, always stem from, it would seem lately, especially over the last, 5 years, even more so, my goals that stems and goes connected with this radio show is being able to be a blessing and help other people to actually grow.
Yeah.
I mean, God really has shown me that, and I love my wife and kids, and I'm very happy with my wife and kids, but it seems like I really she says we hope so. But it seems like I really can go into another level as far as like, not that it's better, but it's like he takes me to another level when I can actually start being that positive agent of change in other people's lives and seeing how they really are changing and how I can see the work and the things that he's doing right before my eyes.
Yes.
I mean, I'm just in awe behind that. I mean, I really, really am.
It fills you with joy and happiness.
I mean, absolutely. And you might say, well, how does that bring like self-confidence? Well, it makes me confidence that God will actually use me to actually touch another human being's life like that. And, God may be talking to some of you right now in your moment to where you may not have actually realized that. And how you think that what you're doing is just that, hey, it's just what I do, okay? It's just that everyday thing, and you may not see it as important. But that ministry of how God says, everyone wants to say, what's my purpose? What's my purpose? What's my purpose? And then if you read in the Bible, if you don't know how to do anything else, it's like everyone has that ministry, of God's children, that ministry of reconciliation. And what is that?
That's right.
Sharing God's word, sharing yourself, sharing his love, okay? And when you're actually increasing people and they're changing around and changing their lives for the better, I mean, I know my wife can attest to this, and I can actually say that to where, I've seen people that have just popped up to me and it seemed like, they fell off the map, off the grid. And then all of a sudden they just pop up in your life again and they come up and say, Mr. Court, or Mrs. Jennifer, hey, because of what you told me, at such and such time.
It becomes one of those checkpoints you were talking about the other day.
Exactly. I mean, I can think right now of an individual that used to work for me, and then all of a sudden this guy was just going through like some really tough times. I mean, really tough times. Struggling, couldn't really keep any other job. He almost got to the point that he was daring me to actually fire him from the job, but I wouldn't give up on him just because of what I saw in him.
Right.
And literally from that, now he is literally doing things to now taking care of his family, being more responsible, stopping doing all of that, running around in the streets and, all of this different stuff.
Well, a lot of people just want to know somebody supports them.
True.
They believe in them.
True. And, the thing that we really need to bring out about that is that if God is actually using you right now to actually touch someone in their life to help them build up their self-confidence level, that self-image, to make them into a positive agent of change, look, it's not about you just being there when things are going good, okay? and then disappearing all of a sudden when it seems like it's getting like a little hard, like you got to put in a little extra time, or like like they used to say back in the day, this knucklehead's never going to get it. It's not about you actually doing that. It's just like with your children, especially when you're a parent, if you're a parent, okay? Just like with God with us, all right? When you start falling by the wayside and it seems like you're not paying attention or listening to what God said, he's just not saying, well, I'm just throwing up hands. I'm sick and tired of dealing with this person, okay? They're not getting it. No, he sticks with you through thick and thin, all right? He's not going to cast you to the side. He's going to say, look, I see the greatness on the inside of you. I see exactly what you can become. I know what you can become, but I need you to see what you can become. And that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest hurdle, I would say, for someone that has, that self-confidence issue, is that they don't see themselves as being great.
Right.
And what's really evident is that so many of us, because we cannot see ourselves achieving a certain thing in life, to where we settle. And right now, don't settle for what's not best. Don't settle for the junk that's out there. Strive and go for what God has in store for you. And stay tuned with us as we come back. Stay in that moment. Welcome back to In the Moment with Kortia Kuzan. Hey, we're talking about self-confidence. And look, before we went to the break, we were actually talking about exactly how we can help another individual that's struggling with self-confidence. And, I'm thinking that's exactly where we're going to stay, and we're going to end up in that realm for the last portion of the show today. Because, it seems that some people what is it, this one thing that's going on out there that a lot of us really need to break this mindset. I thank God for allowing me to be able to sow in the individual's life, have, a coaching side that I've mentioned before, that I actually coach people along in certain aspects. And, one of the main things that I actually let people know when they come to me, okay, I need you to be my coach or mentor, however you want to say it. And they say, hey, could you help me in this area? And I let them know that, I don't have a program that's one size fits all. Okay, that program, it pretty much evolves, and it's tailored to the specific individual. Because why? No one goes through the same thing. So when you're dealing with someone that, really needs help with their self-esteem, or, their image or their confidence, whatever it may be, you need to take that approach that, it's going to change. You need to have something specific for them. Myself personally, what I do is that, Jennifer, if they actually come to me, now, a lot of this. When you start talking to someone, what's one of the main things that they do when you first start talking to them? They want to tell you every single thing that's wrong with themselves.
All the negative comes out. I'm not good in this. I don't do this. I'm ugly this way. I'm too tall. I'm too fat. Whatever it may be, they say this about me. All the negativity comes out. And, generally the next thing I'm like, woo, awesome. That's great, which really throws them off when I say that. They're like, well, what do you mean? Now that we got all the sewer water out of you, all the junk. We can start with the building blocks.
We can start with the building. See, a lot of you, that's why I always say, let people talk. Okay, when you're in the realm of trying to help someone, let them talk. Let them get every single thing out that they could possibly think of, all the negativity out. Just let them spew it out. And then, of course, it's something that where you can say, okay, now I have an opportunity to go ahead and fill them up, with the things that they're going to need. And, I actually look at someone as they're speaking, what they do, and I actually key in. If I can't find anything else, I will key in on one positive thing that I've seen or noticed about the person. Mm-hmm. I mean, do you do the same thing, or is it that, okay?
Yeah.
I mean, and literally, I'll pretty much when you key in on that one point to actually start helping build them up, you're going to find out that they're going to start either revealing things to you, or, you're going to start noticing other positive things that are going on in their life.
Yeah.
And the thing that's really interesting is that when you start zeroing in on that and you bring that positive thing to the forefront of their mind, then it's like the entire mannerism of the person starts to change.
Right. Well, it's like Pastor Greg was saying in church. If you focus on the negative for so long, that's your giant. Your negativity is your giant. But when you start focusing on the positive, that becomes your giant. And whichever one is the largest, of course, these aren't his words. He used a story to describe it. But whichever one you focus on the most, that's where your mindset's going to be. So if all you're looking at are your problems, your confidence, your self-worth, and they're all negative, you're going to have a negative mindset, a negative mentality towards yourself. But when you start to notice the positive about yourself, when you have people who point out the good and the positive about you, and you start to focus on that instead of that negative, your mindset's going to start to change, and you're going to focus on that positive.
Yeah, just like she said, and something. It's not like a one-hit wonder type deal. It's not something you can tell someone one time and hey, their life should just be totally changed and transformed. No, it doesn't work out that way. Okay, it's a continuous process that actually happens all the time. And how she brought up using that example that Pastor Greg had, same thing he did. I know at how he on the Sin Spiritual Hour this morning when we were driving in and we were listening to that. I know he talked about a point and how basically his life was able to change, but people that he actually went to school with, some of those people are still on the street corners and doing things. It's amazing how that just rings true for so many of us. But, the story that really sticks out to me, what he said exactly when he was asking God to take away his sins, okay? And a lot of us with our sins, we equate the things to what we have gone through and our, self-confidence issues, and how he said there was this big chalkboard, okay? And how when he asked
sin
God,
on top of
sin on top of sin on top of sin. And then, of course, Satan wants you to see your sin on top of sin, but then he wants to see exactly the things that are affecting your self-confidence, how you see yourself. Everything else is written on this board,
right,
and try to make you think there's no possible way that, you're going to be able to change. There's no possible way that this weight is going to come off of you. But then when we just give it over to God and release this thing, I love, how when he was actually telling that story, it was like in Daniel and how that hand appeared and started writing on the wall of the palace.
Right.
I literally saw that hand on the chalkboard with that eraser, just erasing
erasing
all of those past hurts, all of those past pains, all those, confidence issues that someone may have. And I mean, it's really a process. It's almost like when you're building someone's confidence level up, it's basically like a workout regimen. Okay, you really have to get them into a routine,
right,
to actually set themselves up. All right, and I know some of you might say, "Well, I'm not going to do this. This is a lot." I mean, what would happen if you woke up each and every morning? I mean, and I actually did this for one short, brief period. But I mean, myself personally, you remember when I was doing those little sticky notes and writing stuff and putting them in different little places. Mm-hmm. I mean, she says, yeah, I was like putting little notes and everything. Why? Just because I needed to have things, no matter where I went in the house, just because I was on this like up and down swirl that was going on as far as like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to make this. It's getting a little tight, a little hard. And, when I could go to the kitchen or wherever it was,
right,
to read these things, and I'm like, okay, I got this. I got this.
Just secure them with Scotch tape or something.
That's just secure it with Scotch tape. What? You didn't like my staples I was putting in stuff?
Or finding them falling all over the place.
Hey, yeah.
They don't stick that well.
But yeah, it's those small things, okay,
right,
those small tidbits. I mean, and, my wife, I mean, she's just overwhelming in how she helps people. I mean, because she's got like this level of compassion that, like I said, I'm so thankful that we're one flesh, because her level of compassion, I'm not going to say I could never have that, but, it's just like one of those off the chart things that would actually happen. I mean, because it's like I told you before, and how a lot of us don't realize certain gifts and talents that we have could actually help people in their self-confidence. And like I said, my wife has these miracle hugs that people just love. So, we never realize exactly what we have, how it can actually change someone. It may not be words. It may just be a small expression of affection that actually helps someone. And I mean, right now, for those of you that are actually listening, God is saying, take this time, take this moment to actually affect someone else in their moment. They may be struggling, they may be going through, but guess what? God is going to use you to be the springboard to show his glory in them. Look, we're at the end of the show. We're about to head out the door, but thank you for being with us. Stay in your moment, and we'll see you tomorrow on Thriving Thursday. Take care, and God bless you.